Now we're going to put everything together. We're going to find the domain and we're going to find the range, and we're going to do so using interval notation. Now let's recall that the domain, those are the x values which can be found on the x-axis. The range, on the other hand, those are the y values and they are located on the y-axis. And here I have labeled my axes. So the y-axis, that's going to be for the range. So we have to find the lowest point and the highest point. And then for my domain, that's on my x-axis. And we have to find the point that's farthest to the left and pair it up with the point that's farthest to the right. And actually, I'm going to prep this problem by outlining all of the things that I need to find. And here I've outlined all of the things that I need to find, and I highly encourage you to do this. So the range, I have to find my lowest point and pair it up with my highest point. For the domain, I have to get my point that's farthest to the left and pair it up with the point that's farthest right. So let's begin with the range here. So again, the range, we want to look at the y-axis, and we have to get the lowest point and the highest point. So let's zoom in a little bit. And here, by skimming this graph, we can see that the lowest point is going to be this closed circle right here. So let's dash this with let's cut this with a solid line. So right here, and we see that the y value that corresponds to this closed circle is -5. So I'm going to go ahead and record that right here. And now we have to find the highest point. Now our highest point, we can see that it's going to be located here at this edge. And again, there's no openness here. It's supposed to be like that. So there's no openness. So we're going to take this as a closed point. Since it's closed, we can cut this with a solid line as well. So we're going to cut through this. And we can see that the y value that corresponds to this edge is that -1. So our highest point is going to be -1. Now let's record that. Let's get our range. Our lowest point was -5, and this was a closed point. Well, actually, let's just write -5 for now. Our highest point, that one was -1. Okay, now we can include the interval notation. So -5, that was a closed point, so we're going to close it with a bracket. -1, that edge here, there was no openness, so this is closed as well. We're going to close it with a bracket 2. And that is the range. Okay, we're 50% of the way there. All we need to do now is get the domain. And to get the domain, we got to get the point that's farthest to the left, and then we're going to get the point that's farthest to the right. Domain is x-axis. So here, the point that is farthest to the left, you can see that it's going to be this one right here. So let's go ahead and cut this with a solid line because it's a closed circle. And for domain, we cut vertically. So here we have this solid line. Here, let me redo it. And now the x value that corresponds to this closed circle, again, x value is going to be -3. So we're going to write -3 right here. And now we got to get the point that's farthest to the right. And the point that is farthest to the right on this graph is this one right here, this open circle. It's open, so let's cut this with a dashed line. And now we see that the x value, because we're looking for domain, the x value that corresponds to this open circle is going to be +2. Let's go ahead and record that. So the point that is farthest to the left, that one's going to be -3. And then the point that is farthest the right, that one's +2. Now -3, that one was a closed circle, so we're going to use a bracket. 2 on the other hand, this too was an open circle, so we're going to have to use a parenthesis. And there you have it. You have the range and the domain using interval notation. Okay, this is the range, this is the domain of this graph.